Hi everyone! Welcome back or welcome to this channel. This is Rosa Mobono, and we're here to try to spread spiritual light to mundane and practical things in everyday living. How? Well, by reading Reddit stories, and I'm gonna give my advice on whatever the situation is. So first up, coming from r/am I the a-hole? Okay, title: AITA for calling my BF absurd for being overly concerned about a coworker. I, 27F, have been with my boyfriend 29M for about 2 years. He works in tech. I do not, so I am only hearing this secondhand. Recently, he started talking about a woman he works with. He went on and on about how people at his company treat her unfairly and assume she is incompetent. He kept saying she is extremely smart and great to work with and that everyone else just doesn't see it. He then told me about a situation involving a code review. From what I understood, multiple people questioned or criticized her code, and according to him, they were all wrong and she was right. He said later it was proven she had done the correct thing. While telling me this, he actually started crying, like tears and shaking voice. I honestly did not know how to react. It felt absurd. This is a tech company. There are multiple engineers reviewing code. It is really hard for me to believe that several people were all wrong and only he was right, especially when I am only hearing his version. It feels more likely that the situation was more nuanced than everyone else assumed she was stupid. I also found it concerning how emotionally invested he is in this woman's career. He talks about her like he is her personal defender. I get feeling bad if someone is treated unfairly, but crying over a co-worker's code review feels excessive to me. It also does not help that this woman has a solid job in tech and probably makes more money than I do. So it is hard for me to see her as some helpless victim, yet he says she should be leveled higher. I told him that I thought he was being dramatic and that it made me uncomfortable how intensely he was reacting. I also said that if multiple people on his team questioned her work, they probably were not acting out of bias and that maybe he is not seeing the full picture. He got very upset and accused me of being uncaring. Now he is hurt and says I do not respect his values. I feel like he is projecting and getting way too emotionally involved with a coworker. Am I the a-hole for not believing his take on the situation and being weirded out that he cried over it? So, I would like to read some of the comments first before we go on with that take. There's one comment here that says, with 12k upvotes by the way, YTA, you're the a-hole, and all the votes painting you as justified are frankly unhinged. You don't work in tech and you don't know what the culture is like, but anyone with even a shred of awareness knows that it is notoriously sexist culture where women often have to prove themselves twice as good as anyone else and get challenged and discriminated against for no good reason, as was proven in the situation described here. You're what? Mad at your boyfriend for being upset at his coworker being treated badly and having empathy for her? Threatened that he is standing up for someone else because she's a woman and therefore he must have ulterior motive instead of just being a decent person? Trying to discredit her accomplishments and him for recognizing her worth because, quote-unquote, also does not help that this woman has a solid job in tech and probably makes more money than I do, so it is hard for me to see her as some helpless victim. There it is. Get over your weird jealousy and internalized sexism. It's honestly kind of sad. And then a comment after that, as a woman who has worked in tech for over 20 years, I have faced a ton of sexism. What I would like for men to do is defend me, which is what her BF did for this woman. That's where the reasonable behavior ended. If I found out one of my coworkers went home and cried to their significant other about my situation, I would find it weird. Like, you want to tell your significant other about the situation and get mad on my behalf? Sure, I get it. To actually cry over it? No, that would be weird. There's an edit here, adding clarification because my comment is not landing as I intended. I deliberately said coworkers. This is not about men crying, gender, or whether emotions are valid. Men can cry, women can cry, everyone can cry. I cry a lot. Crying can be healthy and part of emotional self-regulation. My point is about context, personal comfort, and boundaries. I would feel uncomfortable knowing that any coworker, regardless of gender, was so emotionally distressed by my experiences of sexism at work that they went home and cried over it. That discomfort doesn't mean crying is bad or wrong. It just means that the level of emotional involvement would feel like too much for me. Everyone is different. You can care, advocate, and be angry about unfair treatment without being so distressed that you are shaking and crying over a professional relationship and still have emotional intelligence. Okay. Well, my take is, you're not the a-hole for feeling off about this at all. OP isn't. It makes sense that OP is uncomfortable when her boyfriend is that emotionally wrapped up in a coworker situation and then turns around and calls OP uncaring. That's a lot. From a Catholic perspective, this is where prudence or good judgment, temperance or emotional balance, and honest, loving communication all come into play. On the prudence side, you've only heard his version of what happened at work. Code reviews can be intense, but they're also meant to have multiple opinions. Disagreement doesn't automatically mean injustice or bias. It's smart not to jump straight into everyone at his job is awful when you've only got one angle. The church actually warns against rash judgment, assuming the worst about people's motives without real evidence, which totally applies here. At the same time, your radar about the emotional intensity is valid. Him crying over how this specific coworker is treated shows how he's really empathetic, which is beautiful in itself. Christians are called to have compassionate hearts, but temperance is about balance, not letting our emotions run the show or get so attached that they start to blur the lines. If his reaction puts her on a pedestal, she is the smart one. No one sees it but me. And it sidelines your feelings that a sign something might be off is how invested he is. That doesn't mean he's cheating or automatically unfaithful, but strong admiration plus tears plus defensiveness can be a combo worth looking at more closely. Emotional maturity in Catholic thought includes being able to feel deeply and communicate those feelings in a way that respects both the other person and your primary relationship. If he can't even have his reaction gently questioned without attacking OP, that's not great emotional footing. So, what do you do with all this? First, start with calm curiosity. Something like, hey, I can see this really affected you. Can you help me understand why it hit so deep? That shows you care about his heart, not just about winning the argument. And then, share your side honestly, but gently, of course. I love that you care about justice, but the level of emotion and how much you're focused on her makes me uncomfortable. It feels like more than just normal coworker concern. Framing it as how you feel keeps it from turning into an attack. Talk boundaries as well. What feels like a healthy level of involvement with coworkers' personal struggles? What would cross a line for both of you? You're allowed to say that certain levels of emotional attachment to someone at work don't sit right with you. On your end, it's also worth checking in with yourself. Is any of this tied to past hurt or jealousy? that doesn't make your concern invalid, but naming it helps you talk about it without letting it explode. The church is big on examining our own hearts and asking God for clarity, not just for judging the other person. Bottom line, I don't think OP is the a-hole. Your discomfort is legitimate signal, not drama. But instead of writing him off as quote-unquote too much right away, this is a chance for both of you to grow. Him in emotional balance and boundaries, you in honest and charitable communication. If he's willing to really talk, listen, and adjust, this can deepen your relationship. If he shuts you down and keeps flipping it on you, that's data you shouldn't ignore. Okay, so moving on from that, we have our next Reddit story. This one is now coming from r/best of Redditor updates. So now you're sure that this will have an ending. No, we don't know if it's a good one, but it will have an ending. Okay, so AITA for telling my girlfriend the way she talks about her car is weird and embarrassing. I've, 25, been dating my GF, 23, for about 9 months now. When she turned 21, her parents gave her a car and she decided to name it Angie. I learned all this on our first date when she said, "Angie took me here." I thought that was odd but let it slide. Throughout our relationship, she's always talked about her car as if she's talking about another person. When she got a flat tire on the highway a few months back, she called me and said Angie's shoe broke and has to get a new one. When she goes to the car wash, she describes it as Angie's taking a bath. This all came to a head this weekend when me and my friends went out drinking, and my girlfriend offered to be the designated driver. We were out for a couple hours and I admittedly got a bit too drunk. When my girlfriend came to pick us up, she said she's stopping at the gas station first to get Angie something to drink. This is where I may be the a-hole. I told her I think it's weird and embarrassing for her to talk about her car like that. It's a machine, not a pet or a kid, and that she should treat it like how a normal person would treat any machine. She got very quiet and refused to say anything for the rest of the drive home. She dropped off my friends and then drove to my apartment. I asked her why we weren't going back to hers, and she said she needed some time to think and told me to get out. She's been radio silent since then, and I'm starting to think I did something wrong. AITA for what I said. So this one actually has a verdict, and it says the verdict is a-hole. Now, some comments here says, YTA, meaning you're the a-hole. Geez, just let your girlfriend enjoy her relationship with Angie. Are you jealous? How is she hurting anyone by being a bit silly when referring to her car? OP replies, I'm not jealous and she wasn't hurting anyone. I just think it's weird. I should have told her before. And then there's a downvoted commenter that says, I do think it's amazingly cringeworthy to refer to your car by name and talking about if you're doing stuff with them. I mean, at least just say I'm going to the car wash with Angie instead of giving her a bath or drink, because the latter causes confusion to anyone but the person referring to items that way. You shouldn't have snapped at her in front of others though while she was doing you all a favor. OP says, yeah, I get that now. That was rude of me. I should have told her it's cringeworthy before. Okay, last comment. There's a comment here. Get over yourself. It's cringeworthy that you felt the need to drunkenly call your girlfriend out in front of others and still expected her to bring you back to her place. Exactly. Okay, so my take. Not the a-hole for feeling uncomfortable, but kind of veered into a-hole territory with how OP handled it. Lots of people named their cars, plants, guitars, whatever. For her, Angie clearly has some sentimental meaning. It's tied to her parents, turning 21, and probably a sense of independence. You don't have to love it, but calling it weird and embarrassing and telling her to act like a normal person hits below the belt. That's not just about the car, that's you taking a shot at who she is. If you look at this through a Christian lens, the issue isn't her quirk, it's the charity or lack of the way you spoke. Love is supposed to be patient and kind, not rude or dismissive. You're allowed to say, hey, I don't really get the whole Angie thing, but once you add embarrassing and normal people, it stops being honest and starts being hurtful. Her going quiet and needing space makes sense. Someone she trusts basically told her that this harmless, playful part of her personality is something to be ashamed of. That stings. She's probably wondering if he thinks this is embarrassing, what else about me is he's secretly judging. What can you do now? You know what? You can own it. Text or call and say something, hey, I've been thinking about what I said. I'm sorry I was rude about Angie and made you feel judged. I don't fully get it, but I respect that it matters to you. Please do not double down. Well, it is weird. You can have different personalities and still date. The question is whether you can respect each other's harmless quirks. And if it still really bothers you, talk about it later in a softer way. Sometimes I feel a bit awkward when you talk about the car like a person, but I don't want to make you feel stupid or criticized. Can we find a middle ground? From a faith or character standpoint, this is a small but real moment to grow. Being in a relationship means learning to hold your tongue sometimes, or at least to say the honest thing in a kinder way. You're not a monster for slipping up, but how you handle it now will say a lot more about you than the original comment did. Now, I did say this is from Best of Redditor update. There is an update. So, the update came the next day. Update. Well, she dumped me. She found the post, called me, and told me never to speak to her again. I guess it's for the best though. We really wouldn't have been that compatible as many of you have said. Thank you for your judgments. It's great that he owned the judgments there. He was thankful for the judgment. I guess that's it for today, and I'll see you guys again in, I don't know, 2 weeks probably.